Hey, Tilde here, and today I'm talking about Disney's Moana. Now, if you haven't seen it and are into these types of films, I would recommend it. The songs are catchy, the visuals make a splash, and the comedy floats. It's a fun film, but raises a lot of questions. Why does Moana need Maui to return the heart? The ocean could send her straight to Taka. Here you go. Movie over.
If the ocean's so smart, why didn't it just take the heart back to Te itself?
How does Tamatoa get the hook? Maui lost it in this world, the crab is in that world, and I don't think that hole is big enough. But we'll fill that later. Why is everything one and done? The foes featured in this film are fantastic. The crab, the coconuts, the ka. I wanted to see more of them, and less of Maui. Why is Maui a jerk? It's okay if he is, but a trickster and a jerk are not the same thing. Why is Maui stuck? He shows no hesitation to abandon ship in the middle of the ocean. Why is the only thing in the whole ocean of bad some coconuts with arms and legs? Where did all the monsters go? How far can a dying grandma throw a cane? Does everyone? No. Does everything have a neck problem? And with a track record of sneaking adult humor into children's movies, why is there such low-hanging fruit left on the tree? Also, a lot of tension is lost when you realize the water is an ally. The chicken won't drown, the boat won't sink, and the heart won't get lost. This messes with the tone and pacing, making them both a bit ambiguous. For a story where everyone is chasing the power of creation, I definitely think they missed something right in front of them. It can be added in so easily they even made the perfect characters to use. So, with those considerations in mind, and the characters they created, while still hitting most of the key beats and improving on others along the way, I present to you my version of Moana. The movie is going to start off very similar, but instead of the hook being lost, now only the heart is. When Maui removes the heart, there is an explosion that breaks his hook, and from the ashes forms Taka. Grandma gives her lesson, we learn the land, and see Moana grow up. Just before the propaganda song to stay on the island, Moana and her father are on the sacred hill. She thinks she sees something far out in the distance, but the chief distracts her to talk about the rock. As they head down the hill, we see something barely visible is floating. The coconuts are corroding and the fish are fleeting. The fisherman asks about the windward side, but the chief shoots that down. We don't go backwards. Then Moana starts, but he cuts her off. And we don't run away. In this version, the windward side of the island is forbidden. It is the direction their ancestors sailed from and where they have parked the boats. Take out the chief's backstory. Instead, he goes to the top of the hill and looks out to the windward side, but is shocked to see that the blight has reached through to touch the island. Mom defends Dad. He's just trying to keep us safe, including you. Maybe you could see things his way for a change. A little softer message than give up on who you want to be. Moana sings her song, but doesn't realize Dad's still up there. So he's happy when she lifts the rock up and sad when she puts it down. Also, he's watching her run to the ocean and crash a boat, so he sends people to save her. Grandma shows her the boats, and Moana says, "It's forbidden."
Are you gonna tell Dad?
I'm his mom. I don't have to tell him anything.
The timely death of Grandma and threat of Dad burning the boats is a pretty skinny, inciting incident, so here's how to fatten the drumstick. Take the consequence from the bit about the heart,
The heart?
yes, this heart,
This heart right here?
and move it here. Bring on the Kakamora. The threat the chief has known about, fishing the windward side of the island, the forbidden side, where the boats are, where Moana and Grandma are, and where the heart is currently on display. The Kakamora raid the island, and the villagers are defending themselves but are outnumbered. Moana stays to help, but the chief reluctantly gives her approval to leave. Think of some other Disney films where the father is alive and our heroine defies his orders to save the day and change his mind. Been there, done that, and if everything is important nowadays, then healthier paternal relationships are too. Also, stop encouraging kids to disobey. They actually listen to you. Get the manta ray moment and some closure later, but here is where to show the ocean can't send her straight to Maui or Taka, because the blighted ocean won't allow it. Just some sort of explanation. The ocean sees she can't sail and pushes the boat, but backs away from the blight. So now she's sailing on her own, with a chicken. Don't need to dive in, but at least this dips a toe. She doesn't need to tip a boat to show signs of struggles, and the ocean causing a storm to get her to Maui doesn't make much sense. Here, a scary fish monster gets eaten by a bigger, scarier, fishier monster, but she manages to make it past them. The ocean is helping with a slight fight through the blight, so she's off the hook and on to find Maui. Arriving at the island, what does she see? Maui is being held prisoner. And who has him captive? Tamatoa. He doesn't sparkle yet, but he has the hook on his back. This removes the fetch quest completely, saving the realm of monsters for Moana 2, Livin' La Vida La Lota. Moana approaches them in mid-conversation, already knowing who they both are from the lessons she learned growing up, looks at the man and asks, just to make sure, "Are you the demigod of the wind and sea?" He replies, "All the Maui, hold the wowie." The crab, not happy with company, grabs Moana, but Maui, being the trickster he is, says the humans probably sent her with the heart of Te Fiti, not knowing she actually has it. After some back and forth, she offers the heart in exchange for Maui, with a fun jaw-dropping moment when they both realize the truth. Tamatoa uses it to make himself shiny, and then sings about it.
In song form.
His shiny shell replaces the old one, making the hook very accessible for the free Maui. Now, if you're going to make a Little Mermaid reference, that's fine. At least the setting fits. But Frozen? Why throw in a reindeer but miss out on another one of your movies that is set primarily on one Polynesian island? Enter Stitch. Sure, the time frames don't line up, but who cares? Maui has a broken hook, Stitch is a Disney character. If you can shamelessly plug Sven, you should make the nod to Stitch too, and not just leafing a beached turtle. So, Maui gets the hook, but it's broken. He can only transform into land creatures, and not very well. He turns into Stitch and crawls around the crab, gets the heart back, and they sail off. Tamatoa chases after them, but with all the extra weight on his back, let's just say he doesn't float. Light comes out from where he sank, and there's no neon lights either. So the two are together. Moana goes over the plan. Maui says, "Give the heart back to Taka," and she replies, "No, Te Fiti." And he says, "Te Fiti, Taka, same thing. Some elemental giant that wants the heart." Just a throwaway line, but we know what that really means. Some monsters show up. Maui fights them off, but wrecks the canoe. He sings "You're welcome here," focusing on the good he did, but not the bad, ignoring the consequence of losing their means of crossing the Great Sea. Call it a defense mechanism. With a broken hook, he's a broken man. Instead of,
Without my hook, I am nothing.
Moana is floating on wreckage. She and the ocean are trying to train him to shapeshift into water creatures, but he's struggling. See Sharkhead. Now Maui's true motive is revealed. He wants the heart to make a new hook. This gives him a reason to stick with Moana. This makes the audience question if he's good or bad, instead of the two arguing over going to the same place. Maui gives it another try, and now he can shapeshift into water creatures. Moana jumps the shark, and they swim on. Moana has a bad dream about her home island and wakes up to Maui Shark opening the locket, trying to take the heart. He denies it, just making sure it's still there, but he got caught. Showing the heart has consequences, so the Kakamora are back. I like this scene now since Moana handled herself back on Montanui. It makes more sense. This is also a good place to show off Maui's new water skills, but when the Kakamora get the heart, they actually use it. They are tired of being the little guys, so they all want to be taller. Technically, the heart doesn't grant wishes, but they are able to create a new image for themselves. They abandon the smaller boats to form a coconut enhancement assembly line, so Maui steals one for Moana to escape. The Kakamora are down a ship, and the new bodies have added weight to their original form. The boats can't handle the added stress, and they sink. The ocean gets the heart back to Moana. They're free from danger when Tamatoa emerges from the blighted water, all decked out in neon lights. And on his back are these crazy looking things. The blighted, upgraded Kakamora. Every bad creature that we've seen so far, even some random fish monsters, they are all closing in on him. Things are looking really bad. Maui says they made it, and asks for the heart. Moana doesn't see anything, but she gives him the heart anyway. He takes it for himself and makes a new hook. He drops the heart and turns into a giant hawk. He poses in the air, and everything that is chasing them turns and leaves, quickly. Confident that he is the reason they got scared off, but then is hit with a fireball to the back and crashes into the ocean. They made it to Taka, they lose round 1, and the hook took some damage. Grandma's ghost returns for a pep talk, and she starts by saying, "Yeah, that little coconut got me, but I got his." Moana just tilts her head. The rest plays out about the same. Moana restores Te Fiti. Te Fiti restores the world. The blight and the monsters get sucked back into Lalota, and Tamatoa is the last monster, being too big for the hole and plugs it up on his back. Maui apologizes to Te Fiti and gives the hook back. She gives him a new one, but he isn't fully redeemed. As punishment for the next 1,000 years, he can only shapeshift into Sven. Moana returns home, and just now do I realize that they fixed the blight and left the island anyway. And another thing, why is there a boat with the spiral when the reason they stopped sailing was the heart was removed? Whatever, skip credits, play the post-credit scene. That is how to write Moana until the end. Thank you for watching. I had a lot of fun making this. Some things that I missed. Taka is surrounded by blight, and that's why the ocean can't give the heart back. And the blight is a sentient liquid being just like the ocean to keep it in line. I hope you enjoyed this. My next video will be some theories that I came up with after making this one, so stay tuned. Until next time, I'm Until Day End.